with the one and only Hurricane Shane Burgos. And yeah, I mean, lots to talk about. Last week, he fought Yamoto Nishikawa in PFL, second regular season fight. You won, unanimous decision. First of all, Shane, thanks for doing the interview. I know you're really busy. Your wife is almost due as well. So I really appreciate it, you taking the time. And how are you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for having me on. Always make time for you.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, let's start with the fight. You going into the fight, you have to fight Nishikawa. You lost your first fight against Olivier Aubin-Mercier. Knowing you're really upset about it. I know a little bit by now. So you coming with a chip on your shoulder in this fight. You want to get the finish. Uh, what did you know coming into this fight? You saw the standings. You pretty much knew that you needed a first round finish, right?
Yeah, basically, I was backstage. Like I saw how the rest of the fights went, so I was like, yeah, it's basically first round finish unless OAM got first round finished at that point, right? So I was like, in my head, it it didn't. I didn't try to focus too much on it because going into the fight, anyways, I was already gunning for that first round finish. But obviously, it didn't come to fruition. It was a little bit of a it was a weird fight, I'd say for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you had like I think in the beginning, and correct me if I'm wrong, you both were looking for the finish in the beginning because he also needed 6 points pretty much. He also had 0 points from the Clay Collard fight. And I felt like after the first round, you were still trying to get something going, but you also felt like I got to get the win here. That's the most important part.
Yeah, so a little bit of both. So
Yeah.
the game plan going into it was to take him down because I knew that I had such a big I knew I had a big grappling, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu advantage.
Mm.
Took him down pretty easily, but the game plan was, I mean, not the game plan, but what I expected him to try to be more urgent, trying to stand up, and I opened myself up for him to try to get up, and I thought that's where I would jump on his back, try to choke him out, or force more of a scramble and catch a submission in a scramble. That's what I was training for. That's what I assumed would happen, but he never really tried to get up. He was just more content in staying in the guard and like throwing those slaps to my ears and those heel kicks. So I was a little bit like, I mean, I thought I had him out at one point with the ground pound in the first round. I saw his eyes roll back, but then I hit him again and he came right back to life. So I was just like, fuck, man, I thought I had him out. Like when you land, like, I mean, you never had a fight before, but when you land a shot, you're like, damn, that was a fucking good one. I landed a couple of those and I was like, oh, I got him out. And then he recovered. So, but watching his fight with Clay Collard, I knew it was going to be hard to get a TKO. That's why I wanted to bring him to the ground and choke him. But again, he didn't show any urgency trying to stand up, so he didn't give me the opportunity to jump on his back. I mean, he was just content with waiting for the round to end, or maybe trying to wait for the referee to stand us up. So it didn't give me that opportunity to submit him, and I didn't want to force too much on passing the guard too much because at that point, if I pass the guard, I can't elbow anyways. So I was just like, I'm not gonna be able to land big shots from here anyway. So I might as well. I mean, guard and half guard, you can land bigger shots. So that's why I didn't force the guard pass too much.
Yeah, and I I had the feeling like you said, he was like okay with just being on his back and trying to avoid the damage a lot, and not trying really to work. And that's because you really couldn't work there as well, because he was pretty much holding you down there, and you couldn't work around him. I had the feeling. And at a certain moment, you knew you got to get the decision. Then you hear 30-26. I mean, 10-8 round on three judges scorecards is at least nice. I mean, it can still do something for you. But
Yeah,
knowing you wanted to finish.
yeah, 100% wanted the I wanted the first round finish. I wanted to earn that my place into the playoffs, and then on top of that, like uh 30-26 is cool, but and another thing is like it's weird like with the point system, like a dominant decision win, like a dominant win, like I clearly won that fight. It was a dominant win, yeah, but it's weird that how it's like that equals the same amount of points as if we had like a split decision win where I barely eked it out, right? So I didn't really think about that until I was in this position where I was like, damn, a dominant win and a split decision win are they're equivalent, which I don't think they should be equivalent, but it is what it is. I mean, you can only do so much with the point system, right? At that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some some weird things with those kind of things. I think we had an earlier season that a guy had, for example, I think two fights. I think he had one fight. I gotta say it right. I think he had two fights and two fights decision win. you know, so he had 6 points. And the other guys got knocked out in the first regular season fight, and in the second one they won in the first round via
Yeah.
and then the guys who got the finish got to the semis, I think, and the guy who got 2 wins got booted, you know. So it's
Yeah,
kind of, you know.
I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. It's one of those things. It's hard to. There's so many variables with MMA that it's hard to really lock something down that's perfect.
Yeah, I understand. Well, now come to the controversial part. You can't do anything about it. I feel like you got a lot of you catch a lot of flack for it actually, but it's not in your hands, you know. Let's talk. I don't know. Have you seen the fight between Raush Manfio and Natan Schulte?
Yeah, I was backstage watching the fight.
What did you thought about the fight?
It was clear that it was clear that they didn't want to fight each other right off the bat, and I don't like I'm not gonna sit here and act like, oh, what the fuck, guys, fight. I get it, man. That's a shit position to be in. I've never had to fight a teammate, let alone a best friend. Like, I mean, he's his daughter's godfather, one of them. All right, like I can't imagine that. That's kind of a really shit situation to be in. So I 100% sympathize with them. And if you ask me, like I don't think I deserve it over Schultz. At the end of the day, he has the 2 wins. I have 1 win and 1 loss. So I mean, if you ask me, he should get it. He should get it over me. But it's not my decision to make. I mean, I didn't go to them and tell them to kick him out. I would never do that. Like, I'm not salty like that. Like, the dude's a former champion twice. He won the tournament. So I feel for both those guys. That's a shit position to be in. I mean, I guess the PFL wanted to make a statement going forward with if you get into those positions, you have to fight, or this is what's going to happen. It sucks that this is the way I got into the playoffs. So like it puts a huge like asterisk on how I'm here. So the only thing I can do is go out there and earn my position in the finals. That's really all I can do, because it's just like a weird feeling. Like I was excited to be in there, but I don't want to be put in there because these guys got taken out of it. You know what I mean? It sucks. I want to earn my spot in there. And I'm next in line. Like, aside from, like, those are the 4 guys that are in it. Who's the 5th? I'm obviously the 5th. So I'm next in line. But it sucks because it just puts like a bitter taste in my mouth about the position that I'm in.
Yeah, I understand, and also like I'm pretty sure you read comments as well. You know, I mean, it's pretty much you cannot quit them out, but you see it as well, and people are giving you a hard time for it, and it's not like it's not your decision. You know, it's
Not at
like
all.
yeah, and people are like, yeah, maybe then you should say like, no, I can't take it. Of course, you're not gonna do that. No fighter gonna do that. It's like a second chance, you know, and the second chance know you a little bit. You feel like you have a chip on your shoulder now, and you want to
Yeah.
perform absolutely amazing in your next fight.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to get a fight against Clay Collard that everybody wanted to see from the get-go, you know. It's a 6 semifinal.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so since I signed with the PFL, everybody's been talking about that matchup. It's a matchup that's been on my mind. Like, if you ask me, just being completely unbiased, he's one of my favorite fighters in the whole organization. Like, so I'm a fan of the guy. He's fun to watch, man. I like the dude never has a boring fight. So I really do enjoy watching him fight. And I think both of our styles, I think he's gonna bring out the best in me. So I'm excited for that. Like, it's one of those fights that it gets you nervous. It's like, man, this is it's a good matchup. And not a lot of people like know him, which is the weird part. Like, cause the dude's been in the UFC he's been in the UFC years ago. Like, he fought Max Holloway, he's fought Anthony Pettis, Jeremy Stevens, Stevie Ray. He's fought so many good guys, and he's got a lot of wins over these really good guys too. So it's not an easy fight whatsoever. So I think Chael said it on the Ariel show. Like, you guys are acting like they're giving me like a easy way into the finals. Like, are you kidding me? I'm getting the number 1 ranked, number 1 seeded guy right now. It's not an easy fight by any means, but it's a fight that excites me, and it's a fight that I think will bring out the best of me. I'm super fucking excited for it. And again, like I said, once I signed with the PFL, this is one of those matchups that everyone's been talking about. So we're gonna get to see it.
Definitely. And if you proceed to the finals, you hope you will get that one back over OAM, I'm pretty sure, right?
Of course, of course. That would be that, like, storybook ending right there to the season. Like, to fight Clay in MSG, get the win, make it 8-0 in New York, then fight OAM in the finals, get the win there in a 5-round fight to get that win back. That's like storybook ending. Like, the stars are aligned. Like, this shit wasn't supposed to happen this way, and look where I'm at now. Like like I said, the way it panned out, I don't like the way it panned out. But the only thing I can control is what I can control, and that's the next two fights that I have, or the next fight I have, and then winning that one, and then going to the finals. So that's all I can do. That's all I can control.
Damn, dude, now you're still undefeated in New York. That's true, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Um, I wanted to ask you what another thing. Like I thought you did an interview. I don't know. I think it was with Junkie or with MMA Fighting, and there was a headline like "You shouldn't fall in love with three letters to UFC." You know, and I know we have talked often, and you're always like you're always been a big fan, UFC fan. You know, you were really happy when you were there and what you did. And you went to PFL. I always tell people, and this is from like a fat couch potato like myself, is like if you work at McDonald's, for example, you know, and you get like $10 an hour. I'm just saying randomly,
yeah,
$10 an
yeah,
hour. And then you get an offer from Burger King. You have to do the same thing, but you get $50 an hour. You fucking go. You know, that's what I say to people, you know, and people are ragging on you like, yeah, you went to PFL. And tell me, you know, what's the decision for you saying like, don't fall in love with three letters, but look out for
yeah.
your career because you're a prize fighter, right?
100%. Like my manager put that into my head back the first time when I did my free agency. He's like, "Are you a UFC fighter or are you a prize fighter?" And back the first time I did the free agents thing, I was like, "No, I'm a UFC fighter." Second time going around, I had two kids, another kid on the way. I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not a UFC fighter anymore. I'm a prize fighter, and I want to." With the way I fight and the way this sport is, you don't want to do this when you're in your fucking mid to late 40s. You want to have a retirement plan. You don't want to have money in the bank. You want to be able to
Mhm.
look back and say that the shit was worth it to my wife and kids. So when I sat down, I made up like a pros and cons chart. It just was a no brainer. Like, yeah, the UFC gets it's number one, 100%. There's no denying that they're the number one organization. They're like the NFL compared to the XFL, which would be PFL being number two. Um, but at the end of the day, it's about financial security and making the most money. And like I said, there's guys in the PFL, myself included, obviously, that are world class fighters that have been in the UFC that could compete in the UFC today still. So just because you love those letters to UFC, and I understand it, I was there before. I would say don't put your eggs all in one basket when it comes to promotions. And I highly recommend guys fighting out their contracts and seeing what they're worth.
Yeah, because I mean, so far it worked out well for you, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, you're happy. That's a very important thing. And I mean, you can provide for your family, and that's probably the most important thing you can. So, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. Listen, I made good money in the UFC. Don't get me wrong. I made really good money in the UFC, but
mm,
I'm making great money in the PFL. And I'm not just saying it because I'm in this position now. Like, oh yeah, he's saying that just because he's in the PFL now and he can't go back to the UFC. That's well, first of all, that's not true. I've never heard that I can't go back to the UFC. Second of all, I'm saying it because it's true. Like I am genuinely happy with my decision. Like I look at my bank account and I'm happy. I see the I see the numbers in there, and I'm it's like a relieving feeling. Like especially coming from what I came from, man. I came from nothing. Like I remember before my UFC debut, like I was dead broke. My wife was pregnant with our first kid. I had my first CFFC title fight fall through, and I got my UFC debut on short notice, and I made 10-10 for that, and I was like, oh my god, I made it. I was like, I'm rich. That's it. Let's go 10-10 off of a fight. Like comparing where I was then to now, like it's it's really crazy when I look back, like the life that I've been able to live and the life that I've been able to provide for my wife and my kids through my hard work and through my hands, like my actual hands, my gave me everything that I have. And the position that I'm in now, making the money that I'm making in the PFL, hindsight is always 2020. But if I could turn back time, I would 100% make the same exact decision that I made, and I would be in the same position now.
yeah, I think I'm not gonna question what kind of money. It's none of my business. But I saw you were like the only fighter who didn't got show win. You got show and not win, just flat. Is
Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
those,
I know. I'm not gonna like ask you if it's true or whatever, you know,
yeah,
but that's what I
yeah,
saw. So,
yeah,
yeah, the funny thing is like actually, man, when you debuted in the UFC against Thiago Trator, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember posting that fight announcement. I think I have 2 likes on it on Twitter. You and your dad. So,
That's
so
funny.
yeah,
We've
um,
both come a long way.
yeah, true. That's definitely true. Um, Yeah, man. But overall, very happy with PFL, I guess. Besides, not even thinking about getting back in the tournament, but just overall how they are
Yeah,
treating you and all that kind of stuff.
100%. I said it a million times at this point. Like it's been a very seamless transition going from the UFC to the PFL. Like it's a very smooth transition. I didn't know how it was going to go. Obviously, I've had two fights from now, and it feels super super cool. The first fight, it was uncomfortable how comfortable it felt. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, this is weird. How like I feel very situated. I feel very normal. This feels like a regular fight week. And going to my last one, it's like it feels like I've been here forever. It feels like it's been way longer than just two fights. I mean, those fights are back to back basically. So it's very very weird. But awesome transition. It's been smooth, seamless, completely rocky free. I would say completely bumpless. It's a very smooth road, smooth transition to the PFL.
Perfect, man. And also your teammate Solomon Renfro had a great debut in PFL. What are your thoughts
Yep.
about him, man?
Oh man, sky's the limit for that kid. He's so explosive. He's got a great personality. You hear him on the mic. The kid can talk. He's going to be a star. He's a star in the making for sure. And that was just a huge statement that he made over a dude that was bigger than him too. I mean, a welterweight, fucking second round knockout. Yeah, get 5 points. He was ranked fifth in the welterweight seating. So yeah, crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Um, One more thing, your brother Ryan, man. We need to see him back soon. I think it's been some
Yeah,
time. I think he had an injury. How
yeah.
is he doing?
So he had surgery about 4 weeks ago. Just got off the crutches. It's funny because he literally just got off crutches. He'd been doing PT, just started working out, and so what I had my corners for this fight were all injured. It was the weirdest shit. Like my head coach, he got a fracture and like a tear in his I don't know what the part in his leg is called. He's got a fracture in his tibula, and then he had some tear in the muscle in his leg. So he couldn't coach me. So his brother came to coach me, which was our head coach forever. And then my boxing coach was there, but he had arthritis in his leg, so he couldn't really move too much. And then my brother Ryan got surgery, so I was just like, dude, what the fuck? But Ryan literally put the shin guards on and did, he sucked it up and sparred me the entire warm up. So it was like I didn't know how he was gonna do with that. Completely knocked out of the park. He was like, "Yeah, I feel good." I was like, "You sure?" And I'm in that. I'm warming up for the fight backstage, so I'm kind of like I'm hitting him, and I'm like I'm trying to be like, "Are you good? Are you good?" And he's like, "I'm fucking good. Like just go, just go." And he's eating all the shots. So I'm like, that was a good warm up for me, but it was also a great warm up for you to know, let you know, 4 weeks post op, you're basically good. So I think he'll be back by fall.
Awesome. You're both kind of crazy, I think, man. I mean, you both really like going through pain. I mean, we all know the story about your back, right? And
Yeah,
so yeah, you're both tough, and I'm
yeah,
looking forward to see Ryan back in the. I don't want to say I want in the cage. I want to say octagon, but I mean there's only one octagon, so in the cage.
yeah. He'll be back soon.
Awesome, man. Shane, I want to thank you as always for making the time. You're a man. Love talking to you, and want to wish you all the best. And obviously, uh, good luck and all the best. And I hope you are a dad again soon with your wife being due, man. All the best for that as
Thank you,
well.
brother. I appreciate that. I always love talking to you, man. You're the man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man.